Good morning for AM 1340 WGRV. I'm Reid Seals. I'm here for our monthly interview with Greene County Mayor David Crum. How are you doing this morning, Mayor?
Good. How are you, Reid? Good morning, Greene County.
I'm doing pretty good. First question I have, can you tell us why there was a need to get a new front loader for solid waste?
Yeah, our front loaders are very much aging. Actually, probably the one that we have that's in best condition has got almost 300,000 miles on it. And we use it for recycling. The others are not in as good mechanical condition, but they're all aging and showing their age. We applied for a grant that's going to help offset some of the costs for a new front loader just for recycling, and we'll take it. But I think a lot of times I didn't think about it till I got in this job, but the stuff you put in those is really hard on them. I mean, the acidity level that you put in really wears the bed of the truck out and stuff. So our trucks are just really getting aged. And Jim's been looking through Gov Deals that we sell stuff, and he had found some at another municipality, because some municipalities especially have a replacement plan based upon years, not miles and wear and tear. So he was looking and found two that were really good, and actually has found another one at another municipality that's in really good shape. But we have to be able to have the money allocated in order to buy it. Even though he's got a budget and he's got a fund, the county commission, we'll get into this, is the funding arm. And you'll see pretty much everything we see last night has something to do with funding for the commission to approve. And so we wanted to go ahead and put that money and have it aside to give him the authority if he finds one. And that way, looking for something close enough that he and the mechanic can go take a look at, is this thing in good shape and is it worth it, so that we can move it there and to take a look. So that was the reason for the front loader.
Can you explain what happened with animal control and the 60 dogs?
Yeah, we had a gentleman that died, and he had 60 dogs, and they were in good shape physically. They were not neglected in any way. And so with his passing, the family, my understanding, doesn't live to where they could take care of them, and that would be quite a burden to take on. And so working animal control, working well with the Humane Society and Robin Quillen, who is a commissioner, but she runs a rescue. Feral Friends is very active in that and has a lot of connections. It really was a great group effort that they came together. The community making some donations to the Humane Society that did a lot of this work and ongoing, really pulled together, took those dogs in, evaluated them, and at this point in time, we're back taking dogs. Animal control has been able to move out all of those. I think Robin still has maybe some little puppies that will be traveling out, so we've been able to get a lot of those. And if you're looking at one, go down to Humane Society, still has several, and it's interesting. And I'm going to deviate, and you can bleep this out or delete it out if you want to, but because Squirrel Trail sometimes I go down. Janet called me at Humane Society. She's got an app on her phone. She can take a picture of a dog, and it will go through the breeds. And these, several of them, if you happen to see the reddish ones, were of a Nova Scotia duck trolling retriever, and they were mixed a lot with Australian Shepherds. And whenever she told me, I pulled up, and I'm like, well, that's the dog. They're about border collie size, a lot of them, and so they were really a pretty dog. And so that was a great success story to come together for that. And as I mentioned later on, it's getting the time of year, and I think Jen had a thing about cats. It's getting the time of year that they're starting to come in season, and that is problematic. We're able to work with a lot of the rescues and things and do a lot of adoptions on dogs that are adoptable. Occasionally you'll get those through aggression, illness, and different things that may have to be euthanized, but cats are just problematic. They're feral, which you can't handle. They're difficult to handle without somebody getting injured. So we have to actually put down a whole lot of cats that I wish we didn't have to. So if you need a cat, come by and get a cat.
Now, a petition was presented on Monday at the County Commission meeting about school consolidation being put on the ballot. And can the Commission actually put the school consolidation issue as a referendum on the ballot?
Reid, we've talked a little bit before, and you actually, I think, can answer this question better than I can from what. So I'm going to turn the tables on the interviewer a little bit today, because in our conversation, I think you've educated yourself and can articulate this probably better than I can.
Well, from research, it seems like from MTAS that it says that the Tennessee legislature is the one who actually has the authority to put a referendum on the ballot. And school consolidation is not one of the approved referendums at this time. So my assumption is the commission would have to petition the legislature for that on this side of the...
Could be, and we'd have to get our attorney to act. Can we do a private act to allow that for us? And the thing that I find interesting, and I don't mean it, is, a non-binding referendum. Are you saying we're going to give the voters a choice, but we're not really going to give you a choice if we don't like your answer? I think we see, if you look back a number of years, how that went on a non-binding referendum is, if you're going to put it on there for a referendum, abide by what the voters say.
Mm-hmm. Now, you've been going through this for a while now. Can you give us the process of a salary lawsuit? And can you kind of tell us at least an estimate of how much the current one has cost the county?
Yeah, I can. This all starts with the budget process, and we're already starting this now. Each elected or department head brings in their request, submits it to the budget director. They key that in to where we have an estimates on what each department is asking for. The budget committee will begin evaluating that process, whether someone's asking for additional people, because you say we rarely cut anybody in county government. It's going to be additional people. We don't tend to cut a whole lot. So they will evaluate that. The department heads got to make their case for it, and they have that option that they can adjust that before it goes to the full commission. But as I always say, the budget process is a fluid document until it passes. And the county commission, the legislative body, is the funding body for county government. They approve the budget, they approve the tax rate. And whenever that's done, and they've approved that, I have very little spending authority. My budget is basically my assistant and I. I have several departments that report to me that I work with those department heads to make adjustments. But whenever the budget is passed, then there's a document drawn up that each elected official, that's a fee office, then they sign basically a contract with the county mayor, being the figurehead of that, signs that they agree to abide by that budget. They agree that the budget is presented to them, and they can sign that document, or they can fail to sign that document and contest and come back and file a salary suit. When the suit is filed, then the legislative body has to make a determination. Are they going to defend the suit or make an allocation to fund that request that was made? In this case, the legislative body made a determination that they wanted to defend the suit and not allocate the additional personnel. And so that's where we've been in this process. A suit was filed. The commission made the determination to defend. And so I get named as the person that kind of signs that contract and as the figurehead and in order to meet with the attorneys and defend the lawsuit. It's been a long process. I'm going to estimate that the county side's probably $150,000, and you're right, it doesn't make a lot of sense if you're comparing $150,000 to 1 year's salary, but again, that's a reoccurring cost that comes every year, and the commission has approved additional personnel in certain areas, but this was one that they chose not to. And so we're in the middle of that. I don't know what the other attorney fees are. All I can say is what the legislative body side is.
And mentioning the budget, where is the budget process right now?
We've got most of the departments have turned in their request. We've got a couple, so we'll be digging into those things in the next month or so and having meetings with those departments that are requesting. The budget committee's kind of indicated if you're not asking for any additional, if you're good with the budget that you had last year, then Or if you might be asking for less, that's even better. But if you're within that same budget, then you don't have to come and make your bid for additional items or additional monies. If there's something you're looking at, then we're going to have to evaluate and look at it. Kind of like the SRO. We talked last month about sending it forward. If that is passed, that the commission wants to include that, then the sheriff has an isolated budget. There's different budgets within a budget. The sheriff has the jail budget, he has patrol budget, and he has the SRO budget and additional budgets within his budget. So that would go directly into like the SRO budget, and it would be there. And we saw last year it was actually a little higher than this year because it was the first year, and so there was some additional cost that went into the training and some of the things they had to do. So we've seen that could be something that once they get put in, there could be a little bit, but you're going to have people coming and going in. And the thing is we'll kind of stick within the budget process. We have a thing we call above and below the line. And you know what I'm talking about. Above the line are those that are direct salary cost, the salary for the person, insurance, Social Security, and those things. Below would be like office supplies, gasoline, vehicles, uniforms, and all that. If a department needs to move money around below the line, it doesn't affect the overall budget. They can make that request. Our accounting department, they fill out, and then I sign off and approve that. If they're needing to move money either above, maybe for a salary to buy some more uniforms, or from below to above that they might be running short on overtime or something, the budget committee can approve that. So if you had the SROs, the only way the sheriff then, to use this example, could say, well, I've got more money in SROs I need, I'll move it over here to the jail. The full county commission, that becomes a funding request that comes back to that. The full county commission has to make that budget request to move money within a fund like that. So that, and we've seen some of those where you'd move it that way. So hopefully that answered in a long detail, maybe more than you were looking for, Reid. But to try to break down, because the budget's a big thing. I mean, our countywide is about $42 million. The schools is, I think, somewhere about $59 million. So that's a lot of money, and that's why commissioners are very important. We've hit on that 2 or 3 times this morning already. They are the funding. They make the ultimate funding decision for your county. So the mayor may do that day-to-day job and doing things that keeps me busy, and you see me at a lot of things. But the county legislative body, if they take their jobs seriously and are involved, can spend a lot of time and a lot of energy, and that's who makes those decisions: is what will we fund and what will we not.
And this is a more personal question. What are you hoping to accomplish before you leave office?
That's there was an area that I was hoping to get into, and I'm just not real sure. I think we can save some money if we set up our own fuel depot. I really don't know that in the amount of time that we've got left that I can get that. I want to work on that and leave that maybe for the next person to be able to start in. We've got the range that takes up some time, and we're getting closer on that. So we're finishing up with the airport, and that comes. I think you have to take a look at county governments and are working with others. I think I've worked very well with the other municipalities, and they've worked well. But I think it was a good time for us to take a look. There was no reason for the town of Greeneville to be involved in Kinser Park. It didn't fit in with their parks and recreation. It's out in the county, and I think right out by there, take a look. It's a beautiful location. It's got easy access for the kids to play and do some things. So I think it was good for us to make that. We're making some improvements there. Looking at the airport, I think it will streamline more with a new municipality side, and they can go straight to the mayor and alderman. But one sidebar is looking at a dog park. I've talked to Anthony Carter out at Kinser Park, the Randy Boyd Foundation, which he does the invisible fencing, among other things. We hear that name a lot. Has got some grant money out there. And as you go into the park, there's a pavilion down to the left that I went out and talked to Anthony. And it's not a matching grant, it's a pure apply for the funds. So hopefully we can get that thing, that I can get that applied for and get that back, and Anthony can work on setting up a dog park out at Kinser Park. I've talked to a few people. One said that their dogs wouldn't particularly like. The other said that their dogs like interacting with other dogs. So that's a good location. Anthony says you have a lot of people come at camp that bring their dogs, and he said some will come and just turn them loose in one of the big ball fields out there and let them run anyway. So I think that would be probably the one thing, because contrary to popular opinion among some groups, I'm pretty pro-animal, and you can ask the Humane Society about that one. And a bit of trivia on that is when we go to Dollywood, we take our dog to Doggywood and board our dog at Dollywood. So obviously we get treat our dog pretty good.
Okay, what's going to be going on in the county this month?
Well, I guess it depends on the day. Are we going to watch baseball, or are we going to go snow skiing there, Reid, the way the weather's been in the last week? But we've got the Old Oak Festival coming up, I think. Is that this weekend?
This weekend.
And we'll probably meet again, I think, before the Irish Festival, but it'll be close. We'd have to pull our calendars out and take a look. So we've got that.
It's probably the weekend after we talk next.
If you take a look at yours, the Porsche car show is
this weekend.
Oh, is that this weekend?
Mm-hmm.
That's always kind of fun, and go and look at your cars that I'll never be able to afford, but it might be fun. Like I say, the Irish Festival, the Junior World College World Series will be out at Tusculum sometime about the end of May.
I think that'll be after our next talk, too.
Yeah. And, of course, I'm excited. The Reds, I think that's the Astros, I think, were a good fit, but I think the Reds are close enough that those people that are really into baseball can make a day trip up and see the Reds actually play. And so we've got a lot. We've got high school baseball, soccer, softball going on. You can find something to do pretty much every day to get out, and it's just getting that weather to get out and not freeze in the morning when you try to get up and go do a workout. So.
Well, I want to thank Greene County Mayor David Crum for coming in for his monthly interview. This is Reid Seals for AM 1340 WGRV.